Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's full body stretch. Today we're going to be working through some stretches that are going to increase our flexibility, melt away tension, and alleviate stress and anxiety. So let's go ahead and get started down on our mats. We're going to start in an all fours position. We're going to walk the hands out a little bit further in front of the shoulders, curl the toes, really lock the palms down onto the mat. Deep inhale here, and as we exhale, we're going to lift the hips up toward the ceiling, coming into a downward dog. If you really need to bend your knees deeply to get that lift in the hips, please do so. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. Breathing into the back of the rib cage through the nose and slowly exhaling through the mouth. Let go of any tension in the neck. Just let your head hang between your shoulders. And from here, we're going to start pedaling out the heels, keeping those hips elevated, inviting alternating heels down to the mat to feel a stretch in the calves and running up the back of the legs. For 4, for 3, really flatten out that upper back. For 2, and for 1, level out the heels, gently drop the knees down to the mat, take them nice and wide, walk your hands further out in front of you, bringing big toes together, and sink the forehead down to the mat, keeping the hips elevated, stretching and elongating here in puppy pose, drawing your armpits down toward the floor, lengthening out through the spine, from the top of your spine all the way out through the tailbone. Breathing in through the nose and slowly exhaling through pursed lips. Melting a little bit more deeply into the stretch. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Now we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders, bring the knees and the legs so that they're parallel, hip distance apart. From here, we're going to step the left foot back, step the right foot back, coming into a plank, and then fold the right leg under the body, coming into pigeon pose. We're going to start off nice and elevated here, pressing the mat away through the fingertips, stacking the vertebra. Back leg is stretched out behind you. Melt your shoulders down away from your ears. And now we're going to fold over, lowering the forearms down to the mat and resting the head on the arms. Breathing deeply. Really relaxing the upper body here as we stretch the glutes and the hips. For 3, and 2, and 1. Slowly elevate back up, coming onto your palms, flexing the left foot, stepping right foot back, coming into your plank, and then folding left leg under the body, lengthening through that right leg, elevating up onto your fingertips, stacking the vertebra, and stretching. Those shoulders melted down away from your ears. Lifting up a little higher and then folding over the body, lowering down onto your forehead, supporting your head with your arms. Breathing into any points of tension in the body. For 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Use your hands to help you to sit up. Turn and face me. Foot is turned in toward the inner thigh and opposite leg is extended. Lift up nice and tall. Elevate up with your hand and fold over your outstretched leg, getting a nice side body stretch in here. Keep both hips evenly weighted. Reach a little bit further, feeling the stretch running up the side of the body. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Reach up and lower arm down. Take it over to the other side, bringing foot in toward the inner thigh, sitting up really nice and tall, lengthening through those fingertips, and then folding and stretching. Try not to let your hip lift off the floor. Reach a little bit further, deepening the stretch, feeling the stretch running all the way up the side body. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Recenter. Bring the feet together. Splaying the knees out to the side, holding onto ankles here, stacking the vertebra one on top of the other, inviting the knees a little closer down toward the mat, and then hinging from the hips. So try to keep your back nice and flat here. And lean into this stretch, opening the hips, stretching the inner thighs. Keep the shoulders rolled down away from the ears. Gently drawing the knees closer down toward the mat to deepen the stretch. For 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Elevate back up. We're going to come down gently onto our backs, rolling down one vertebra at a time. From here, we're going to bring the right knee in toward the chest. Left leg is bent. We're going to extend the right leg out long, holding on to either the back of your thigh or your calf if you can reach it. Relaxing the shoulders and holding the leg in this static hamstring stretch. Breathing in through the nose. And as you exhale, I want you to draw the leg a little bit more closely in toward the chest, deepening the stretch. Relax those shoulders. Deep inhale. And as you exhale, hug it in a little bit closer if you can, pushing that range of flexibility that little bit further. Holding for 5, for 4, maximum stretch here, for 2, and for 1. Nice work. Now cross that right leg over the left, interlace your fingers behind your left thigh, and hug your left knee in. Coming into our 4-point stretch, opening in the hips, stretching the glutes on the right side. Challenge yourself by trying to press every part of your spine down onto the mat, including the tailbone, so that you're stretching the low back as well. Take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, hug the knee in a little bit closer toward the chest, deepening the stretch. For 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Release. Bend both knees. Bring your left knee in towards your chest, and then stretch the leg out, straightening the leg, holding on behind your calf or your thigh. Wherever you're grabbing onto, I want you to make sure that this leg is straight. Deep inhale here. And as you exhale, slowly increase the stretch by drawing that shin back towards your chest. You might find that one side is tighter and less flexible than the other side. That's perfectly normal, working within your range. Breathing deeply here, trying to melt away tension in the upper body, so not letting tension build up in those shoulders and the neck. Deep inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to deepen the stretch, drawing that leg that little bit closer, maxing out the stretch here. Good. Hold for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Bend the knee. Cross the left leg over the right. Interlace your fingers. Take them behind your right thigh and hug that right knee in toward the chest. Breathing deeply. Again, connecting each part of your spine with the mat. Stretching deep into those left glutes. Deep inhale, and as you exhale, draw that knee in a little bit closer. Maximizing the stretch for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Release. Nice work. I'd like you to bring your hands behind your thighs and bring yourself up into a seated position. From here, we're going to bring the palms down on the floor. Knees come under the hips. Spine is in neutral. We're going to step the right foot between the hands and just gently straighten out that left leg as much as possible. We're going to interlace the fingers and take them onto the right thigh, coming into a hip flexor stretch. Lift up nice and tall through the spine. Chin is parallel with the floor. Gently pushing that left hip forward. Breathing deeply here. And if it's comfortable for you, I'd like you to release your left hand. Lift the left arm overhead and then just gently lean and stretch to the right. Deepening the stretch in that hip flexor. Melting our shoulders down away from our ears. For 4, for 3, for 2. Reach a little further. And release. Bringing both hands down onto the mat. Stepping right knee and right foot back. Bringing left foot between the hands. Gently straightening out that right leg. Interlacing the fingers, taking them on the left thigh. Growing nice and tall through the spine. And gently pushing that right hip forward. Feeling the stretch. Deep into that hip flexor. Breathing into it. And if it's comfortable, release the right hand, reach the right arm overhead, and gently fold and stretch to the left. Feeling that stretch run through the side body, deep into that hip flexor. Maintain balance, reach a bit further for 3, and 2, and 1. Bring both hands down to the mat. Lower your knees down to the floor, take them nice and wide, and sink back into child's pose. Taking some deep breaths here in child's pose to elongate the spine, breathing into the back of the rib cage, and slowly exhaling through the mouth as you think about lengthening out through your tailbone. Inhale and exhale. Good. Inhale, expanding the back of the rib cage, and slowly exhaling, letting your belly relax. Last breath here. Inhale and exhale. Coming into an all-fours position here, bringing the knees below the hips, moving into our cat-cow. So dropping the belly, inhale, arching the spine, and then exhale, scoop the belly in, rounding through the spine, creating space between each of the vertebrae. Inhale, dropping the belly, rolling the shoulders away from the ears as we arch. And exhale, pushing the mat away, scooping belly in, and lifting the middle of the back up toward the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale, nicely done. Moving slowly, really focusing on the spine. Good. We've got 2 more, moving at your own pace here. And last one, ripple up and then bring the spine into neutral. From here, we're going to lift and lengthen up through the left fingertips, reach and stretch, and then fold that left arm under the body, stretching the shoulder, pressing the mat away through that right hand, resting the side of the head down on the mat, enjoying a nice spinal rotation here. And then coming out, stretching again, opening to the side, really open through the chest. And thread the arm through. Stretching and lengthening into that shoulder. And last one, reach and stretch. And then rotate, lowering your shoulder down to the mat. For 3 and 2 and 1. Coming up, switching sides. Extending and lengthening through those right fingertips. Shoulders are down away from your ears. Threading the right arm under the body and resting the side of the head down on the floor. On your next exhale, sweep up. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, thread back through. Last one. Reach and stretch, and thread it through. Breathing deeply into any points of tension for 3 and 2 and 1. Coming back into your all fours position. And from here, we're going to take the knees nice and wide and walk back out into puppy pose. So keeping the hips elevated here. Stretching and lengthening through the tailbone, inviting the armpits down to the mat. Inhale in through the nose and out through the mouth as you walk your hands up, bringing yourself into a kneeling position, moving into some arm circles, sitting up nice and tall, reaching up with those fingertips and rolling the shoulders down and back. Opening through the chest, growing taller as you roll those shoulders down and back, keeping the chin parallel with the floor. Try not to arch the spine. Good. We've got 3. Reach a bit higher. And 2. And last one, lengthen and reach. Nice work. We're gonna come back into our downward dog here. So we're walking our hands out in front of our shoulders, planting the palms down onto the mat, curling the toes and lifting the hips up toward the ceiling. From here, make sure you have enough space behind you. We're going to elevate the right leg, reaching and stretching, and then lower. Take it up again, reach and stretch, open up in the hip, and lower down. Let your head hang heavy between your shoulders. Last one, reach and stretch, get as much length as possible, and lower down. Bringing right foot down, elevating left leg, reach and stretch, and gently tap the toe down to the mat. 2 more. Lengthen and lower with control. Last one, lift and lengthen and lower with control. Now gently lower your knees to the floor. Lower your forearms down to the floor and slowly lower your tummy down to the floor, straightening the legs. We're gonna come into a cobra stretch. So you can either come up onto your forearms like so, or you can elevate right up onto your palms Keeping your shoulders rolled down away from your ears. Reaching and stretching, lengthening through those abdominals for 3 and 2 and 1. Gently lowering down, using your hands to help you, bringing yourself into a seated position, bringing the feet forward on the mat, splaying your hands out to the side, gaze is up and ahead, and we're just going to extend the spine, open through the chest. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Bend back a little further if you can. And then straighten out the legs and fall forward, coming into a back body stretch, holding on to either your calves, your thighs, or even your feet if you can reach there. Dropping the crown of your head, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Inhale. And as you exhale, roll up. Bring your shoulders up by your ears and roll them down and back. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. I hope you're feeling long. I hope you're feeling stretched, and I hope that you're feeling free of tension and strain. Thank you so much for joining me for this full body stretch, and I look forward to moving again with you next time.